130 Iranians here in the country illegally have been arrested by ICE over the past week. I want to play a Fox News report talking about that. Then I want to play a News Nation report with a more detailed video on what's going on. Also, a nutty California vice mayor calls for gang members to rise up and defend their territory against ICE. Let's check it out.
ICE is at the forefront of making sure that we're rounding up all these individuals or attempting to locate the ones that did get in. You have one that with admitted ties to Hezbollah. We also arrested a former sniper from a hostile country who snuck into the United States. So those are the type of individuals we want to locate.
So you hear it there. That's Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons talking about the work his agency is doing, trying to find and apprehend Iranian nationals in the U.S., given concerns of potential sleeper cells here. And ICE has been busy. Federal sources telling Fox in the last week alone, ICE has arrested 130 Iranian nationals all across the United States. And ICE currently has 670 Iranian nationals in ICE detention. Now, we talk about some of those people who are detained right now. You just heard Todd Lyons explain some of it. This guy, a former Iranian Army sniper who had his military ID card on him at the time of his arrest. This guy, a former IRGC member with suspected ties to Hezbollah. This man had a gun in his waistband, and ICE says another one of them was a known or suspected terrorist. So they are going out and they're going into overdrive, trying to track down these potential threats. For more on this, we want to bring in former Acting ICE Director.
Imagine how many of these people are in our country just roaming around.
Jonathan Fahey. Jonathan, ICE is really cranking it up when it comes to finding these Iranians. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and Director Lyons and Tom Homan are doing a fantastic job focusing in and getting these people locked up and eventually removed because they see them as a danger. And it does show a drastic change. And unfortunately, it's a change from the previous administration where they seem to put public safety, national security secondary to their open borders agenda. And I think you were reporting earlier there were 1,500 Iranians stopped during the Biden administration, and they let in over half of them. We also know that they let in 99 people.
That is a lot. So about 750 or a little more were let in, were released into the country.
People that were stopped at the border, this is a Biden administration, that were on the terror watch list, and they still let them into the country. So it's a shame that this administration, the current one, has to play cleanup for people that should have never been allowed in to begin with.
Yeah, a lot of work for ICE.
I mean, who is this guy? Do you really want this guy walking across the border and coming into our country? It's complete lunacy, total disregard for the safety of the American people here. All right, so let's go to News Nation, the News Nation report talking about this. This is interesting stuff right here.
Coming as law enforcement agencies across the country are on hiding alert for a potential retaliatory attack here on the homeland, and that does include the activation of suspected Iranian sleeper cells with.
Before we conclude this video, before we finish this video here, go to mixtexanstore.com, get your Elephants Love Wine 2 hat today. Elephant with the Texas flag holding a glass of wine, and or your Ultra Texan t-shirt to show your Texas pride. mixtexanstore.com.
Within the United States. Now, under the Biden administration here at News Nation, we did report that Border Patrol agents here did encounter a record number of individuals on the FBI terror watch list, including foreign nationals from countries labeled as state sponsor of terrorism. That list does include Iran. Now, between January 2021 and today, Border Patrol agents have apprehended 2,501 Iranian nationals at the southern border. Now, internal data does show that about 75% of them are men. What remains unclear is how many were released into the United States under the Biden administration. A number
75% were men. The thing is that a lot of these countries are sending military-aged men to the United States, not a bunch of families and children. I mean, yeah, they did have some, but a lot of these illegals coming from China and Iran, the countries that really are not our best friends, were having these military-aged men come across the border. For what reason? I don't know.
that the Department of Homeland Security has publicly not disclosed. Now, the uncertainty is now colliding with real-world enforcement. Over the weekend, ICE arrested 11 Iranian nationals found living illegally in the United States. DHS officials say that some of them entered through Biden-era parole programs and warn that these arrests reflect a broader effort to root out suspected terrorists and violent extremists already inside the United States. Meanwhile, yesterday, during a tense exchange on Capitol Hill, Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez pressed U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on the national security risk posed by Iranian nationals who crossed the southern border.
Yeah, I don't have the number of the conviction, but it's well over 1,000 have entered. Yes, I don't know if it's quite up to 1,500, but yes, it's well over 1,000 have entered our country. And I can tell you we are on high alert, and everyone is looking at that very closely.
Now, here on the Texas border under the Biden administration, Texas DPS troopers started to see a trend in encounters with special interest aliens from the Middle East, which is uncommon for state troopers here that normally encounter migrants from Mexico and Central American countries. This video here was taken in Eagle Pass, where I am currently, where troopers encountered 27 special interest aliens from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Egypt, and India. And Border Patrol sources tell me, Nicole, that it's unclear just how many special interest aliens were paroled into the country under the Biden administration, and if those individuals could be connected to potential Iranian sleeper cells within the United States, Nicole.
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk now about sleeper cells. What more can you tell us about the possible threat of these Iranian sleeper cells in the U.S.?
Well, law enforcement from local to federal, Nicole, is taking that threat very serious. Here at News Nation, we were able to obtain an internal memo from Border Patrol that says that the threat of the activation of Iranian sleeper cells within the United States has never been higher. That memo also urging agents to stay alert, to not travel alone, citing the rise in illegal entries by Iranian nationals. Part of that memo reading, quote, over the past 4 years, thousands of Iranian nationals have been documented into the United States illegally, both encountered and those that got away. And Nicole, speaking with Border Patrol sources, that word got away is key because under the Biden administration, there was recorded 2 million gotaways. So that means individuals that crossed illegally through the southern border and were not apprehended. So it's really unclear of how many of those individuals are special interest aliens and any individuals connected to some type of terrorism organization or network or a sleeper cell. So major homeland security concerns connected to the southern border.
2 million. So how many of these were bad actors? Even if it's one is too many. One can do a lot of damage. But imagine if you have out of these 2 million. Imagine if you have even 300 of these people here in the country. 500, who knows?
All right, Jorge, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that finishes that right there. But that is very scary stuff, to say the least. And there's a heightened alert going on right now because of the tensions with Iran. We don't know how many sleeper cells are in the country waiting to be activated. So that's the thing. The Trump administration and law enforcement across the country are being very vigilant to take care of this threat. So we can thank Biden for a lot of these problems here within our country. Now, I'm not going to get into just the foreign policy thing by itself, with issues with Iran, but just allowing people into the country from countries who hate us, that's a big problem. And it just boggles my mind how the administration, it just seems to not care about public safety. This one is many people to come across the border, it feels like no matter who it hurt, letting people in on these parole programs, seeming like they don't really care that they're tied, or they may have ties to these organizations, these terror organizations. Just, I can't believe it. I really just can't believe that went on for 4 years. We're lucky to have not had a much bigger attack on our soil as a result of it, as of yet.
To do.
All right, so now I want to get into this crazy lady in California calling for gang leaders to rise up against ICE.
Really want to get your thoughts on this other big story we've been talking about in regards to ICE. I'm sure you've seen it by now. The vice mayor of a city in Southern California, a city called Cudahy, went on social media, posted a video, then deleted it, in which she called for 18th Street and Florencia 13 gang members to defend their territory against ICE. Take a listen to this.
I want to know where all the cholos are at in Los Angeles.
18th Street, Florencia. Where's the leadership at? They tag everything up, claiming hood. And now that your hood's being invaded by the biggest gang there is, it's everyone else who's not about the gang life that's out there protesting and speaking up. We're out there like fighting our turf, protecting our people. And like, where you at?
So that was Cynthia Gonzalez, and her attorney has now put out a statement defending her. She says in part, quote, Gonzalez issued a challenge to the Latino community. Join the thousands of Angelenos already peacefully organizing in response to ongoing enforcement actions. Gonzalez in no way encouraged anyone to engage in violence. Jonathan, a challenge.
Okay. A challenge. Okay, she didn't come out directly and say start shooting at ICE agents, but I mean, you're telling these leaders of these gangs, where are you? To get your people in line, get them together, and get out there with us. Do you think these gang banging thugs, these 18th Street leaders and whoever else are going out there and peacefully protest and try to talk and reason with these ICE agents? I mean, if people who are not in gangs are attacking ICE agents and making threats against them, impeding arrests, do you think the gangbangers are going to sit back and do nothing and just stand there? But I think they're not out there because they don't want to get deported. That makes the most sense to me.
Challenge to the Latino community. She directly appealed to Florencia and 18th Street and ended the video by saying to the leadership of those gangs, get your effing members in order and defend your turf. Your thoughts?
I would say as far as rhetoric, we are at a new low, and I didn't think we could get any lower after comparing ICE agents, many Democratic politicians comparing them to Nazis as the Gestapo. But this is really scary because I was a federal prosecutor for 17 years, and we would prosecute these gangs, 18th Street, and they were known for violence. And these gangs, their sole purpose is essentially to fight, kill, maim other gangs. So now they are saying ICE is basically a rival gang, and defending your turf means harm people that are on your turf, the rival gangs, ICE. This is unquestionably a call to violence. I don't know how you can interpret it any other way. And it is also shocking that I don't think there's a single Democrat politician that has come out against these statements. And just a couple weeks ago, they were talking about toning down the rhetoric, and this is what we got. But it's funny, her attorney's statement, I think, even makes things worse because it doesn't really take anything back. It just essentially lies about what she said. She said defend the turf against a rival gang being ICE. She didn't say take to peaceful protest against policies we disagree with. So the statement from the attorney is patently false, made things worse, but it really is just scary because these agents are putting their lives on the line. And just from the first part of this story, talking about these terrorists or potential terrorists they're arresting, we need these ICE agents to be able to do their jobs to protect the public, protect national security, and instead they are putting them at greater danger. And on top of this, we have these instances of agents being doxxed and other stuff. So the danger of these agents is greater because of these politicians. It's a shocking new low. I hope people condemn it, but her statement just shows she's honestly just not going to condemn it, but just lie about what she said, even though it's on video. Truly shocking, unconscionable. Hopefully it's a new low, meaning it doesn't get any lower, but this is really awful.
Yeah, and the LA police union understandably isn't too happy about it. They said that both of these gangs have killed police officers in Los Angeles, including as recent as 2022 with Florencia 13. That police union is now calling for her to resign. But to your point, we haven't seen any elected Democrats in Southern California make a similar call to resign. What do you think about that? I mean, she is literally appealing to gang leadership.
It is shocking, but it shows how committed the Democratic Party is to this open borders amnesty agenda, because they are all seemingly 100%.
I mean, look, do you think these guys with assault on their rap sheet, auto theft, carjacking, drive-by shootings, fentanyl trafficking, extortion, and murder are going to stand there and peacefully protest?
on board with it. And it's very interesting, as Trump has been more successful on this issue, as we've seen, and you report all the time about the border numbers being so low. Remember, Democrats during the campaign were saying they were for border security. I've heard nobody say congratulations to President Trump on securing the border, because it shows that was all a false narrative. They were never for a secure border. And the more successful he is at securing the border, at deporting illegal aliens that are criminals and put us at risk, the more they ratchet up their rhetoric and the more they fight against ICE. So it just shows where they are as a party, which is full-on open borders amnesty, and there's no wiggle room within the party right now on that, shamefully so.
Yeah, and I've been told by federal sources that Vice Mayor got a knock on the door from FBI last week, and she is under active federal investigation, so we will see where that goes. Jonathan Fay.
Very good. Very good. She's under investigation, rightfully so. There's no reason why she should be calling for gang members to rise up. That is scary stuff. You're going to have violence in the streets like we haven't seen with these ICE arrests. Well, imagine the type of damage they could do. You will have a full-on shootout in the streets. We don't want to see that. But I assume a lot of these gang members that are here in the country illegally, they haven't risen up, either have been deported already, they're locked up, or they're trying to evade arrest. That they might be in the neighborhood. Those actually a lot of times who they're targeting in those neighborhoods. So do you think they're going to come out of their homes and protest? No. But all right, guys, I'll leave that right there. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Take care.